A fatalistic belief is contagious, and when man submits to this influence, believing that the circumstances around him are stronger than the power within him, that man is defeated before the race is run. Hello, I'm Carla, psychotherapist and mindset coach, and on this channel, I help you get unstuck and reach your goals by exploring topics that shift your mindset so you can live your highest potential. We are continuing the reading of Working with the Law by Raymond Holliwell. In the first video, we read the preface together, and we are diving into chapter 1 today, titled Working the Law. Let's dive in. I'll be reading from my screen, so that is what I am looking at, but it gives me some more eye time with you. All right, chapter 1, Working the Law. The question uppermost in the world of thought today is whether a man has the capacity, equipment, and power to control his life, whether he can be what he wants to be, or whether he is a drop in the great ocean of life. Millions are affected by unemployment, poverty, and want. That is true. Where we have thousands of broken homes on the rocks of matrimony, can such a breach be repaired? Millions complain of sickness and disorder in countless forms. That is true. All this gives rise to the belief that we are victims of circumstance over which we have no control. Such belief makes us fatalists and karmic addicts instead of masters and controllers of our destinies. Wow, that first paragraph right there. I mean, get out of here. This is so true. We believe that we're victims of circumstance and we're addicted to being controlled by the outside world. This is, if you've heard people say, live from the inside out, don't live from the outside in, meaning do not let outside circumstances, what other people do, what the economy is doing, what the gas prices are doing, what's going on in the news, what your neighbor's doing. Don't let that control you. Of course, you're human. You're going to be affected by it. But who's in control of your emotions? Are you just letting your emotions run wild? Are you belligerent? We must control our thoughts and our emotions. Sure, people are jerks, but are we going to take a higher view? Are we going to be compassionate, understanding, forgiving? Of course, protect yourself physically, right? We don't have to invite them in for tea and be around people that we don't want to be around, but I'm talking about in the mind. I spoke at this beautiful women's group yesterday. Shout out to Amy and Molly. And somebody asked, I was teaching them about the mind. If you haven't seen this stick figure that I teach from all the time, this beautiful image of the mind. We have a conscious thinking mind, subconscious feeling, and then we have the body. Depending on how we act, we get results. So we think, we feel, we act, and then we get results. I was teaching on this, and we were talking about how we must control the weed seeds. So for example, just like this is the mind, I have another little image of when we think about our thoughts, the conscious thinking mind. Every thought is a seed. So this is like our seed house, and our subconscious mind, our emotional mind, is like the soil. So whatever seeds we drop into the soil, the precious soil of our subconscious mind, will take root regardless if we get emotionally involved with it, and it will start moving into form. We get into a certain vibration. So every thought vibrates at a certain speed, at a certain level. It's a vibe, right? It's like, oh, I'm in a funk, I'm in a vibe. It's like high vibe, low vibe, all this. It's no good or bad. It's just high and low. It makes us vibrate at a certain level. For example, grief, sadness, depression is a very slow, low vibration. We can feel it. It's heavy. It feels heavy in our body. When we walk into a room, say if you've ever been to a funeral and you walk into a room of a grieving family, it's like, whew, you can feel it. It's thick in the air because it's a dense, low vibration. It doesn't mean that it's bad. Of course, we mourn the loss of people, and that's fine, but we don't want to stay there forever. Healing and rising back up, moving on with our life. Life goes on. And so depending on what seeds we plant in our soil will determine how we are vibrating, and how we're vibrating dictates how we act or don't act. And then how we act or don't act dictates our results in life, or flowers or weeds. So I was talking about weed seeds. When we have negative thoughts, when we're emotionally involved with things that are putting us in a vibration that doesn't feel good. We are emotionally involved in a thought that doesn't feel good. We're worried, we're ruminating, we're insecure, we're afraid that people are criticizing us. What do other people think about us? That guy's such a jerk, my family member, oh my God, I can't believe them. I'm never going to get along with my family. So this woman asked, those weed seeds, sometimes we can weed out the seeds, but what if the weeds are other people? What if they're our family members? We can't get rid of that. And I was like, I love that you asked that question, because people, the outside world, aren't the weeds. It's our inner thoughts about the people. So I was using, for example, or she was using, for example, a family member. And she said, that's a weed in my subconscious mind. It's making me feel a certain way. I don't like this person. Okay, fair enough. Could be a certified jerk, a bad person, whatever. But what are we thinking about that person? Of course, like I said, protect yourself. If you do not want to be around someone energetically, emotionally, physically, if you're not safe, obviously be normal and practical. But energetically, when we're not around that person, what are we thinking? Are we letting them consume our mind, live rent free, as they say? We have to control our thoughts because that person might be a jerk, but do they have to live rent free in your mind? Because if you keep ruminating, that's your choice. It's their choice to be a jerk, but it's your choice to think and hold on to it and judge and criticize, which makes us feel a certain way. So our thoughts and our feelings are the weeds, not the person in the outside world. Again, it goes back to living from the inside out. We tend to our garden, which are our thoughts and our emotions. We have control over that. Is it always easy? No, no one ever teaches us this. We have no inner stamina. We're not taught to control this inner world. We're taught to control the outer world. And that's why everyone's such a mess, because we're scraping around for power outside when the real power lies within. And that's what Raymond Holliwell is saying here. Let's read again. In those first lines, he says, do we have the capacity, the equipment, and power to control our life? Can we be what we want to be? So when we are engaged with thoughts of sickness, disorder, all the things that are going wrong, it gives rise to beliefs that we are victims of circumstance over which we have no control. This makes us fatalists and karmic addicts instead of masters and controllers of our destinies. A fatalistic belief is contagious, and when man submits to its influence, believing that the circumstances around him are stronger than the power within him, that man is defeated before the race is even run. In the history of the race and the biography of man, there is a long list of evidence of man overcoming circumstances and meeting his problems of life. Evolution and anthropology alike furnish the truth that man is responsible for what he is. All the great philosophers, all the personal development, even religion say that we have the power within. God is within if you believe in God, but the power is within us. He has power to control his circumstances, and by using this power, he has created other circumstances more necessary in his upward climb. Yet some, not sure that we create our circumstances, are rather prone to think that they are caused by heredity, karma, environment, or numerous other external things. These are the real reasons they think for our failures. They believe in the natural limitations of life. They live in the conviction that as we are, so we must remain. They are sure that what is to be will be. Like we have no control. We can't change it. It's just like fate. I have a drawing for that. Let me look for it. Yes, I found it. Okay, look at this. So this is how we are taught to live. Okay, so this is us. This is our thoughts, really our imagination. What are we imagining for our life? We don't choose. We do not choose. And time keeps moving forward. So we keep moving forward in life, not knowing. So it's good or bad. We just allow life to happen to us. It could be positive or negative, fate. We don't know. It is what it is. We have no control over it. But if we choose to be the master of our destiny, our destination, where we're going, predestining where we're going, we decide. We turn that light on inside. We think, we imagine ourselves, we allow ourselves to go there. And it could be negative or positive, by the way, whatever we're focusing on. This is the reality of it. So if you're thinking of positive things and you shine your light, you're going to arrive there because that's what you're attracted to. Literally, that's what you're moving towards. On the other side, if you focus on negative things, you'll end up in the negative or with negative results, so to speak. So this is destiny versus fate. And I always use this as like a big headlight. That's a headlight. So I always use the analogy of if you've ever ridden a motorcycle or even a bicycle with like a light on the front, and if you just pretend that you're like, moving toward in the dark night, there's just the headlight and you're riding on your bike or your motorcycle and the headlight is shining 300 feet in front of you and you see a big tree or a big wall. That's where the headlight is focused. If you do not turn your focus, you're going to run right into the tree. You're going to run right into the wall. So that's just like our mind. This is a great machine and our mind is the steersman. So whatever we're focused on is where we will end up, good or bad. That's why it's so important to get a hold of fearful thoughts. What we're scared about usually ends up happening because we can't take our eyes off of it. We must control our inner world. Wow, this is only just the few first paragraphs of this. I might have to break these videos up. All right. So he's saying that people believe in the natural limitations of life. They live in the conviction that as we are, so we must remain. They are sure that what is to be will be, that we have no control over fate, so to speak. And who's dictating this, by the way? God? Then what would that say about the God that you believe in, that bad things happen and that's your fate? That's not how it works, in my opinion. The scientist, on the other hand, searching into the mysteries of human life, reveals to us a wonderful world of power, possibility, and promise. This is what neuroscientists, quantum physics are discovering, the power of this energy of our mind, which is seen through the brain, but the mind is not the brain. That's a whole nother topic. But the power of the mind is where it lies. It literally runs our life. So he's talking about the scientist. He tells us that the mind is the creative cause of all that transpires in the life of man, that the personal conditions are the result of man's actions, that all the actions of man are the direct outcome of his ideas, that we never make a move of any kind until we first form some image or plan in the mind. This is so true. Okay, so this is what he's saying. This is like classic cognitive behavioral therapy, by the way. We think, we feel, we act, we get results. So if the results aren't working for us, we got to reverse engineer it. How am I acting? How am I feeling? How am I thinking? What am I surrounding myself with? So he tells us that the mind, this mind, is the creative cause of all that transpires in our life, all of the results we get, that the personal conditions are the result of man's actions, the actions we take, is the cause of all the results. Obviously, we can see that. And the actions we take are a result of our ideas, because our ideas create how we feel. So we never act. I never make a move unless I feel like it. So, if you know how we say, I'm not feeling it. I don't feel it. If we're not feeling anything, if it's not wrapped with emotion, if we're not emotionally involved with it in our subconscious mind, if we're not in an emotional state, we're not going to do it. Think about it. When was the last time you were invited to a party, or someone recommended a book to you, or like a music, like you're not into their type of music, but they're like, this is the best song ever. And you're like, I'm not really feeling it. You're not going to buy the album. You're not going to go to the party if you don't feel like going. You're not going to do anything unless you feel like it. Unless you feel like it, you're not going to move. This subconscious mind runs 95% of our life. It truly does. It's like the fuel. So that's why the universe speaks emotion. It does not speak English. So when we are begging and we're pleading and we're like, please, 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 we can think all day long that we want something and say the affirmations and all of that. But if we don't allow ourselves to get emotionally involved and feel what it would feel like to have whatever it is we're thinking, or to be emotionally involved with the thought. And a lot of times, very unconsciously, obviously, we don't allow ourselves to go there. So say, for example, you've been struggling financially and you want wealth, you want abundance. You're thinking, I want, $10,000 a month. I want $100,000 a month, whatever it is. But really think about how that makes you feel. What blocks come up? How do you feel about it? Are you just totally free and you're just like, well, yeah, I'm going to make all the money in the world? If so, you'll see the results. But if this feeling does not match the thought of a wealthy person, which is a self-image, which is a whole lesson in itself, it will never show up in our life because it will never move into our body to match that. Everything has to be congruent. There's a thing called cognitive dissonance, when what we think does not match how we feel. And that's most of the time, especially when we're trying to change something. So say, for example, you struggled with your weight and your self-image, you always felt not good enough. You felt ugly. You felt a little frumpy, but you want to lose weight. You must change the feelings about how you feel about yourself, about your body, before anything will happen. Truly, that's why people go on yo-yo diets. They might think all day long that they want to lose weight and they force and they push themselves physically, but they're missing the emotional component, really believing it truly with all of their being, that they're worthy of it, that they're this person. And then they skyrocket back up to whatever really they're emotionally involved with, which is unworthiness, not good enough, overweight, frumpy. It's so darn powerful. All right, so he was talking about the scientists, that every move we make, we first must imagine or plan it in our mind and get emotionally involved with it. These plans or ideas are powerful, potent. They are the causes, good or bad, or indifferent, of the following effects, which in turn correspond to their natures. He tells us that these ideas liberate a tremendous energy. Hence, when we learn to employ our minds constructively, we use correctly these hidden powers, forces, and faculties. This, the scientist tells us, is the key to success in all living. Wow, I'll end right there. So I'll highlight there. Is that not powerful? I love this book, Working with the Law, Raymond Holliwell. I really want to start my day reading this and just like sharing the video and just kind of riffing and, sharing my thoughts. I hope you enjoy that. Thank you again for spending your time with me. If you like this video and you are into personal development or you like Napoleon Hill, I'm a certified coach at the Napoleon Hill Institute. All the information's below. I offer free 30-minute coaching calls. So if you want to get to know me a little bit better, if you want to work on something, if you're starting your personal development journey, I am here for you. So again, thank you for your support. I will see you next time.